Boy, if you saw this episode of Super, you'd probably have about as big of a smile as I do on right now. But you might be left a little bit disappointed with some aspects of it. Of course, there's going to be spoilers here, guys. A lot of you guys probably already saw the episode, but as we know, episode 66 has the return of Vegetto. And it is a fantastic return, yes, but it is a bit disappointing, and I'll get into that obviously later in the video. But starting off this episode, we have the merged Zamasu beam struggle with Goku using his Kamehameha, and he does successfully blast through Zamasu's attack that we saw them having the clash last episode. That ties into this episode. And that apparently from the synopsis that we had seen prior to this, where we saw it talking about Goku uses a life-risking attack to break through Zamasu's wall of light. I guess this is that wall of light because after this attack is broken through, his face starts to mutate. He has that purple, what we saw in the preview for episode 66. The mutation. That is how it's caused, and a couple people, including myself, a lot of people actually predicted that the wall of light was going to cause him to probably mutate into something. It did say something was strange that was going to happen to him, so it was bound to be something weird, and, after seeing he had a mutation, I was pretty sure that's what it was going to be. Goku continues to try to fight Zamasu, which is so silly. He gets talked to by Zamasu's like, why are you trying to fight me? You're crazy. And of course, as always, guys, again, episode, watching it live, and it's translated by Herms from Kanzenshuu on Twitter. I'll leave his Twitter down below. Please give him support and love. But, Goku uses the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue for a split second. And he doesn't go times 10, he just uses Kaioken when he's in Super Saiyan Blue. And then pretty much, it does affect Zamasu, but he kind of gets basically taken off Super Saiyan Blue after he's so exhausted, it's so over with. They get into cover. So Goku is in safety with Supreme Kai, Gowasu, Vegeta, Trunks. They're all behind cover while Zamasu's out there raging. And Vegeta, and it's weird because we've been pretty much told, oh, I have, this immortal body still, even after the fusion for Zamasu. Vegeta says, and for whatever reason, Vegeta can completely understand this, I guess. Vegeta explains that Zamasu can't really regenerate fully anymore. I don't know if he can a little bit now or something, but he cannot fully regenerate anymore because of his fusion with Black, and because Black is not immortal, it has a negative effect on their combined body. That's really interesting, and it's something that a lot of us did predict was going to happen, but I backpedaled on it because in the last few episodes they're like, oh, you can't compete with my immortal body, and I think other characters were saying he's still immortal and stuff like that, so kind of crazy, but it is a way to take his immortality away. We also as well have scenes with with the kids, with the other survivors. Not a lot of that stuff's important. She's worried about Trunks, thinking that the little boy's worried that they lost the fight and all that stuff. So we get a lot of that. Zamasu gets more of a mutation, gets that big freaking arm with the time ring he has on that mutated arm, though. The time ring like grew. It stretched with him, so I guess it completely grew with him, so it's kind of weird. But Goku asked Vegeta to do the fusion with him, the Potara. It takes a lot of convincing, but they both get a sensu bean and they do merge into Vegeta once again, and they do give the classic "I am neither Goku nor Vegeta" line. We get to see that again. Funny though, before they fuse, it's said that if you're not a Kai, or not a Kaioshin, you can only stay fused with a Potara earring for 1 hour. So I guess that's the real reason why Majin, when they went inside of Boo's body, he defused, I guess, which is definitely a retcon. I mean, I think that it's kind of a cop-out, because obviously if they mention that, if you don't know about any future episodes still, if you hear them say that he's only going to be able to be fused for 1 hour, you can kind of assume that they're just going to have him defuse in this fight. And that is exactly what happens. But in between that point and the point of them fusing, the fight is absolutely magnificent for most of the first half, and it is the whole way through, but especially this first half is absolutely the most intense and badass sequence I've seen in Super thus far. The fighting, the animation work, the choreography with the fights, fantastic. Vegito definitely has the edge against Merge Zamasu in the beginning, but he's not in complete control. He has the edge. It's not like Buhan and Vegito again, though. It is more of a struggle, but Vegito still has plenty of an edge. We get that amazing fight sequence, and if you haven't seen it, you absolutely, as a fan, have to watch that fight. So, Zamasu's kind of talking. There's scenes where Zamasu's basically just rambling, talking about how gods are better, all sorts of things like this. Vegito's on the ground, though, after having their battle. He's on the ground, and when Zamasu came up to him to cut him down with, Zamasu has that blade. Vegito then goes up and uses a spirit sword right through his chest, and then Zamasu starts talking about it, talking about himself, all that bull crap. Nothing that really matters. Vegito's saying, I thought you were immortal. Does that hurt? You haven't realized that you're not immortal anymore. And Zamasu kind of talks about how this is what he really wanted. He wanted to have the power surpassing a god. That's what he got from Goku Black. So he wanted the power himself, which kind of doesn't make sense because he specifically got the immortality to be immortal, and Goku Black stayed mortal to be able to get stronger. So it doesn't really, I don't really understand why Zamasu's saying, oh, this is what I want. I think that's just BS. Because obviously Zamasu himself wanted to be immortal completely. And why would you not want to have immortality and power, right? Immortality is not going to prevent you from getting stronger if you train and stuff. So I don't really know. And this is where I guess it kind of peaks off. A lot of, about maybe a good 30% of the action scenes, about 30% of the time we see Vegito in the episode, or we know he's out there. About 30%, maybe 25%. I could be overestimating. I don't really know. A lot of that is actually just talking off screen with other characters. So I think that they kind of missed the boat on that. And he's in the episode for probably about a total of maybe 10, 12 minutes. And again, I might be not giving an accurate representation there, but it is only in this one episode is what we have of Vegito. He's only in this one episode, which is very disappointing, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later in the episode. Mai gives Trunks his broken sword and says that the little girl that, hangs around them wanted him to have it. And I guess Trunks powers up and the blade heals itself, but it's kind of like a blade made of ki now. It's almost like a spirit sword from Yu Yu Hakusho, I guess, in a way. Not spirit sword from Dragon Ball, but more of a spirit sword from Yu Yu Hakusho, I guess. Trunks goes off with that sword. And Vegito's still in here, still fighting against Zamasu. Zamasu has now gone into a giant form, I guess, which is crazy, but it was pretty hyped to see. This episode's full of surprises and unique elements, even though, again, we thought the main attraction was Vegito, and I still think it is the best part of the episode. I wish it was in there more. But there's so many unique elements of this episode that it does stand tall as one of the greats in Super for sure. After Zamasu turns giant, though, we get Vegito doing the final Kamehameha, which is absolutely incredible. It's a video game move. It hasn't been in the anime or the manga before, so it's interesting to see it brought into this. It'll be interesting to see if the Totoro adaptation of the manga uses that as well. And as well as that, pretty much after that, their little bout, Vegito diffuses. And Supreme Kai says it hasn't even been an hour yet. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was the Super Saiyan Blue thing. Made the fusion last less. I guess I'm not really sure. They didn't really say that, or I just didn't get that information. Basically, though, after they are defused, Trunks is in there with his energy sword type of deal, his spirit sword, I guess. And it keeps getting more power. He's powering up. It's gaining more power. People around the world are crying to him. And what appears to happen is that it is a spirit bomb sword, or if you want, Genki Dama sword type of thing. There looks to be a spirit bomb behind him towards the end of the episode, and he kind of absorbs it. He's fighting Zamasu and doing very well against him, blocking hits, trading blows, doing a little sword dance type of deal, and eventually breaks Goku Black, or I don't know why I'm saying Goku Black, Zamasu, I mean, they're the same person, right? Zamasu's sword, and once he gets in, I thought honestly what was going to happen, I thought he was going to go Super Saiyan Blue. I really thought he was going to complete this Super Saiyan Blue transformation. We know he has this crazy form where he has the yellow aura with the blue aura. It's kind of weird. I thought he was actually going to go full Super Saiyan Blue, but his sword gets like super big, and he stabs it right through Zamasu, and this whole scene with Trunks was really, again, even though we missed out on Vegito big time, I feel like, boy oh boy, they really didn't mess around with Trunks in this episode. He was the real star, although I still like Vegito more. Trunks gets him through the chest with that sword and slowly just, you know, splits him down the middle, essentially. I mean, he stabs him once, then stabs him again, and that's when he kind of gets him all the way up the middle. You even see the sword cut through his face. Like, it was, you saw the episode, the sword was going up his body, then it showed his face. I'm like, they're not going to show him slicing his face in half. And I'm like, oh shit, they actually did it? I mean, it wasn't super violent because there wasn't blood. It was like the white liquid aura type of thing. So it was more on the side of, it was a cartoonish violence, I suppose, but it could be, I guess, depicted as disturbing imagery. I don't really know, but it was just amazing that they showed that, and I was actually a little surprised that they did. I mean, I guess it's not too different from having Frieza being sliced in half by Trunks, but this was a lot slower and a lot more brutal, in my opinion, and it ends the episode off with him being in half, and it doesn't really show what happens next. Next episode, it doesn't really show anything either besides some other things, but that's for my predictions video. This was a great episode. Don't let anyone tell you that it wasn't. It was a fantastic episode, especially if you look at it critically. I can see that as a fan, you can be disappointed here. And the reason being is that Vegito was not in the episode a lot. He really wasn't, and that hurts me a lot. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, I can understand, you know, if Toriyama's outline says, you know, Vegito's in here doing this or that. But let's have some more. I don't know if it's Toei's fault that he wasn't in it more, or if it was more of something that they couldn't really work around, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But I feel like if they had at least a whole episode dedicated to him and Zamasu fighting, that would have been perfectly fine. The action that we did see was phenomenal, even though in the second half I feel like it did drop off a bit. But the fact that it was Vegito was still amazing. But again, that stuff with Trunks, I don't know what the hell's going on with that sword. It looked like it was a spirit bomb sword type of thing. Kind of, I guess. I mean, it was weird. Then, you know, obviously we saw Goku and Vegeta power Trunks up for that finishing pretty much blow. It was just really weird, but it was so cool. It really, really was awesome. Seeing the Zamasu mutate the whole episode was freaking cool. And Kaioken again, you know, seeing Goku use Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue one more time. I don't think that's going to be in the manga because that was never something that was in the manga to begin with. I think that was just a little scene just for us fans, or, you know, they wanted to maybe bring it back. I'm very surprised they actually brought Kaioken back. But, I mean, it really was a solid episode, and try to maybe, even though if you're disappointed, just look at it critically, look at it as a piece of entertainment. Was it still entertaining for you? I understand it'll be disappointing for some people, but I think that critiquing it and looking at it as a piece of entertainment and maybe not so much getting your hopes up for things. I mean, I was hoping when they said, you know, oh, the fusion's only going to last an hour, I was hoping that it still would last the whole episode, but it didn't. But, I mean, to see, from what we could pretty much see, to see basically Trunks essentially having what looks to be the final blow on Zamasu. And I understand there's some episode 67 spoilers out there, and I'm not going to talk about them. I am aware of them. But to have Trunks have that big, epic last attack, essentially, on Zamasu's body, I think that's an amazing thing to see. and it's something everyone did want, so I think that can maybe make up for the Vegito disappointment. But again, the stuff with Vegito that was there, amazing. I know I'm talking about Vegito a lot, but guys, let's be real. He was the highlight of this episode, was he not? Or from what the preview was showing, they did trick us a little bit. They teased us a bit, but it was fantastic. It's a great episode, and I think it'd be hard to say it wasn't. Not the best, but definitely probably the most intense and badass and cool episode of them all. I'm starting to get to that point where I ramble in the video. I must wrap it up here. Apologies for not having this be a live review. I kind of saw that the episode was airing because we had daylight saving time, so the clocks rolled back and I wasn't keeping up with it. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go watch this. I didn't have time to set up a live stream, so I apologize, and I'll continue to do live streams probably. We'll see how this review does. And thanks for watching, guys. Share your thoughts down below. Tomorrow on Sunday, right after today, which is tomorrow, of course, I will be doing my preview and predictions video. So stay tuned for that if you actually care about that. Other than that, thanks for watching.